Hello friends, good morning. I am Arpit and I am here with today's analysis. Today is 18th of August and we are going to cover the most important topics in news. These topics are not only important from the prelims point of view but equally important from the mains point of view. So let's get started with the topics which are in news. We are going to cover three very important topics. The first is Chandrayaan 3. Now why was it in news? Because the lander which is going to make soft landing on expected date 23rd August has been separated from the propulsion module. Propulsion module was carrying the lander. The propulsion module will be orbiting around the moon. It has dropped the lander. The lander will make a soft landing on moon on 23rd August. But in this topic, we are not only going to limit ourselves to this particular episode, but yes, we are also going to do a comparative analysis between Chandrayaan 1, 2 and 3. What happened in Chandrayaan 2, where it failed, where the Chandrayaan 3 is going to land, what is going to be the mission life and all, and what is going to be the significance of such programs. Then the next very important, I would say, scheme which the Prime Minister also mentioned in his Independence Day speech was about the AYUSHMAN BHARAT. Now, there was a report submitted by the Comptroller and Auditor General CAG in the Parliament during that monsoon session with respect to this AYUSHMAN BHARAT scheme. Now, obviously, some loopholes were found in that particular scheme. So, we'll be discussing in brief those loopholes, but in detail this particular scheme, that is AYUSHMAN BHARAT. Then the next and a new, I would say, trend which has emerged, and it is there in today's newspaper, that is the drug menace in the Kashmir Valley. Many youth, they are getting addicted to drugs. The average age of drug addicts is 28. Now, is this a new way, the terror outfits or the terrorist outfits based in POK or Pakistan or Afghanistan are trying to wage a war against India? If the youth of Kashmir are not getting diverted towards terrorism, let us divert them towards drug addiction. Is this the new strategy which we are going to discuss today? And what are the probable impacts of youth getting diverted towards drug addiction? We'll all cover this in this particular topic. We'll also look into the sources of drug addiction or these drugs like heroin or I would say cannabis, from where they are coming. So we'll cover all this here in these three topics. So let's get started with the first topic, that is the Chandrayaan 3 mission. Now the Chandrayaan 3 mission was launched last month, that is July, and when it was launched on July 14th. August 1, the spacecraft is inserted into the translunar orbit. So when it was launched, it was orbiting in the Earth's orbit. This is the Earth. And it took a slingshot and this lunar transfer trajectory, you can say, or this particular episode, when it left the Earth's atmosphere and transcended towards the moon, was called as translunar injection. This happened on 1st of August. The spacecraft is inserted into the translunar orbit. Now it started its journey towards that. Then August 17, that is yesterday, separation of the lander module. It reached the moon's atmosphere and was circulating over there. Now there is this propulsion module which is carrying the lander and rover. Inside the lander is the rover. They have to land on the moon. The propulsion module is carrying them. So, lander and rover. So, these lander and rover yesterday, that is 17th of August, have been released by the propulsion module, and this lander and rover are moving towards the moon. Now, this is the episode why this Chandrayaan 3 mission was in news. Again, Chandrayaan 3 mission will be in news on around 23rd of August when this lander and rover are expected to do soft landing on moon. Soft landing is a landing in which there is no destruction of the object which is getting landed. There will be some, I would say, propulsions used so that the object which is getting landed does not get destroyed. So Chandrayaan 3's lander has been separated from the propulsion module and will land on moon by August 23. Lander is named as Vikram. Rover is named as Pragyan. Okay. So this is basically that, and when this lander will land, the rover will come out of the lander, then the mission life will be 14 Earth days. That rover will be moving around the moon surface or the lunar surface for 14 days and gathering information, whatever it is intended to gather. Now, where it will be landing on moon? It will be landing on the South Pole. South Pole is an uncharted territory of moon. Uncharted means nobody has gone there, and we would be the first to go there and study about the surface of the moon, gather data. We also will look into whether there is a possibility of water there on moon or not. So we'll see. Obviously there are its own challenges in the South Pole region, like the weather challenges where the weather is extremely cold. So these kind of challenges are there, but yes, all the risk assessment has been done by ISRO, and then only the project has been launched, which is about to end. Let's be hopeful that it successfully ends. Now about Chandrayaan 3, it is an interplanetary mission. It has 3 major modules. When I talk about the major modules, the first is the propulsion module. The propulsion module is carrying the lander module, and lander module is carrying the rover module. Now let's suppose this is the propulsion module. Inside the propulsion module is the lander, and lander has the rover. Just imagine. Okay. Now this propulsion module will be orbiting around the moon. This is the moon, so it will be orbiting around the moon, and this propulsion module has left lander and rover. This was the news. Chandrayaan 3 is a planned 3rd lunar exploration mission. The first Chandrayaan 1, second Chandrayaan 2, now Chandrayaan 3. Aim is soft landing through the lander Vikram and roving through the rover Pragyan on the lunar surface. It is kind of a robot, the rover. Unlike Chandrayaan 2, it will not have an orbiter. Okay. Now you must be wondering that this propulsion module is orbiting around the moon, so it should be the orbiter. Actually, in generic terms, I can call propulsion module an orbiter, but the life of this propulsion module is very less. Life of an orbiter is very, I would say, expanded. No, the Chandrayaan 2 mission we launched in 2019. The orbiter of Chandrayaan 2 mission is still orbiting around the moon. The orbiter of Chandrayaan 2 mission, which is still orbiting around the moon, is giving Chandrayaan 3's lander a lot of information. It is in constant communication with the lander in Chandrayaan 3, which is going to land. So let us look into further details of Chandrayaan 1 versus 2 versus 3. Now this is important. Chandrayaan 1, somewhere in 2013, 2019 and now 2023. When I talk about the components of Chandrayaan 1, now Chandrayaan 1 had a moon impact probe. Now just to sum up Chandrayaan mission, what was Chandrayaan mission like? It was launched from the Earth. It entered the Earth's atmosphere. the spacecraft, when it entered the moon's atmosphere, when it entered the moon's atmosphere, it left or it dropped a moon impact probe. That moon impact probe, when it was dropped, it went from that spacecraft to this is the moon's surface, let's suppose. It went and made an impact landing, a hard landing. And it got destroyed as soon as he made that landing. It was called as the hard landing. And as soon as this MIP made the hard landing, this MIP was destroyed. Now, what was the purpose? MIP was gathering data from the atmosphere of the moon while it was coming down. Just before the hard landing it was gathering all the data from the atmosphere. And that was the aim of the mission. So it was hard landing mission. Hard landing means whenever you are doing the landing, the object which is landing is getting destroyed. And since it is getting destroyed, it is of no use. So it is gathering data while it is coming down, while it is going towards hard landing. That was the main objective. Was it successful? Yes, it was successful. Hard landing was done. Data was gathered when this MIP was coming down. Now we went a step ahead in Chandrayaan 2. In 2019 it was launched, and Chandrayaan 2 had three components. First, orbiter. Second, lander. And third, rover. The main objective was soft landing this time. Orbiter entered the orbit, was orbiting around. Orbiter carried the lander and rover. It ejected the lander and rover. But, just when the lander and rover were about to do the soft landing, there was a software glitch. And due to that software glitch, we lost communication with the lander and rover. And when we lost communication with the lander and rover, we were not able to successfully make them do the soft landing on the moon. So, these two components, they failed. This orbiter was successful, which is still orbiting around the moon, which is still supporting Chandrayaan 3's lander to land on the moon. And that is why in Chandrayaan 3, there is no orbiter. Instead of orbiter, there is propulsion module, whose job is to carry the lander and rover and eject them. This propulsion module will be orbiting for some days around the moon, and then it will be dysfunctional. Then the second is lander, which was unsuccessful in 2019, and the third is rover. Obviously, when lander was unsuccessful, it had the rover, so both of these were unsuccessful. Soft landing has to be done. Now, this landing, soft landing or on the surface of the moon will happen on 23rd of August. But the propulsion module has done its job. Okay, it has ejected lander and rover, which is moving towards the moon surface or the lunar surface. So let's be hopeful this time that we succeed. Now this was the time which was a very hard time for ISRO, and the ISRO chief was found crying and the Prime Minister consoling him. Now let's be hopeful this time, because we have done various alterations in this. Like, for example, we have made a failure-based design in Chandrayaan 3. What is a failure-based design? We have considered all aspects of failure, and keeping all aspects of failure into mind, we have designed Chandrayaan 3 so that there are minimum chances of failure. The lander, the legs have been made more sturdier, more strong. The landing area, as compared to Chandrayaan 2, we had a very confined landing area for Chandrayaan 2, but we have a very large confined area, very large area for landing for Chandrayaan 3. The fuel in the lander is increased as compared to the fuel provided in lander 2. So all these changes have been done. That is why I'm saying that let's be hopeful and let's see and closely follow what happens on this particular date, or one day here or there also can happen. Okay. So this is the main comparison between Chandrayaan 1, 2 and 3. Hard landing, soft landing. Soft landing not successful, attempting soft landing again. Orbiter successful, not having an orbiter, hence this time in Chandrayaan 3. Now implementation of a mission. A propulsion module will carry the lander rover configuration to a 100-kilometer lunar orbit. Once the Vikram lander module makes it safely to the moon, it will deploy Pragyan. Pragyan is the rover, the robot. A successful soft landing will make India the 4th country after the US, Russia and China. Now, Russia's Luna 25 mission is also there, which is also attempting soft landing. Probably it will attempt soft landing before Chandrayaan 3, that is before August 23, and it was launched after us. So both these landings are exclusively in different zones of the moon, and they will not be interfering in each other's or coming in each other's pathways. So nothing to worry about Luna 25 or Russia's mission to the moon and India's mission to the moon. Both should be looked at as complementary missions. Now, a successful soft landing will make India the 4th country. US, Russia and China have successfully achieved this feat. The position remains vacant. This 4th position remains vacant. Many countries have tried, like Israel and India. Both of them tried in 2019. India Chandrayaan 2. We crash landed. A lander rover from Japan and a rover from UAE failed in 2022 last year. So this position remains vacant, this 4th position. Pragyan will carry out in situ chemical analysis of the lunar surface during the course of its mobility. So this will be doing that. So we'll also be closely following about the soft landing in and around August 23rd, but you need to know the details first. That is why I'm covering this particular topic now. Then next is AYUSHMAN Bharat. AYUSHMAN Bharat basically is a scheme, I would say the world's biggest health insurance scheme it is. And the government is targeting around 12 crore households as beneficiaries of AYUSHMAN Bharat. And when I talk about 12 crore households, it is more than 50 crore people. What is AYUSHMAN Bharat? You've come to know that it is a health insurance scheme, but it is not only a health insurance scheme. Actually, it is an integrated approach. It is also targeting for the development of the primary healthcare services. And for the secondary and tertiary, it is giving medical insurance. But why it is in news? Because Comptroller and Auditor General of India has highlighted irregularities in registration and validation of beneficiaries under the AYUSHMAN Bharat scheme. Now, what are the irregularities in the registration and validation of beneficiaries? Like there are around 7.5 lakh beneficiaries with the same mobile number, and that mobile number is this 10 times 9. Is it possible? These many beneficiaries, 7,49,820 beneficiaries with the same mobile number. This is kind of false information. Then the average household size of some beneficiaries is around 200. This is again not possible. There are many beneficiaries who are not entitled to be beneficiaries, but they are beneficiaries. They have to be weeded out, like some pension receivers and all. Some retired, I would say, army personals. So they are not eligible for its membership, but still they are members. So all these loopholes or all these shortcomings were highlighted by the CAG in its report, which was tabled in the monsoon session with respect to AYUSHMAN Bharat. Since it is very big, obviously loopholes will be there, but we have to target zero loopholes or minimal loopholes. At least these kind of loopholes should not be accepted. Okay, so that is why this was in news. You've come to know. But what is this scheme? We should know it in detail. When I talk about AYUSHMAN Bharat program, it was launched in 2018, first of all. And it is dealing with all the three levels of healthcare. First is primary, secondary and tertiary. Now the primary healthcare is basically basic treatment. Like you have headache, fever, even pregnancies, regular visit and all are there in the primary healthcare. Secondary healthcare, some complex, I would say you have some complex kind of ills like diabetes you have, or you want to get operated for a kidney stone or something like this, that comes in secondary. And tertiary, more complicated healthcare issues like cancer and all, they are considered under tertiary. So AYUSHMAN Bharat covers all primary, secondary and tertiary. For the primary sector, it aims at developing or making this world class and giving access of primary healthcare to the people. Now, if primary healthcare is very good, then it reduces the chances of people going to secondary and tertiary, because treatment are done here only, because there are some healthcare issues which begin with as primary healthcare issues, but if not treated timely or if not treated well, they get complicated and get into secondary or tertiary like this. So the main objective is to have good access to primary healthcare services, okay, and develop state of the art, primary healthcare centers. Then for secondary and tertiary, AYUSHMAN Bharat is aiming for insurance. Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, earlier known as the National Health Protection Scheme, and Health and Wellness Center. These are the two components of AYUSHMAN Bharat. Jan Arogya Yojana is for secondary and tertiary, and this HWCs are for primary. We should remember it this way. Now, it is an integrated approach, AYUSHMAN Bharat, comprising health insurance for secondary and tertiary, and primary. For primary sector, it is basically developing or increasing access of the people. Targeted beneficiaries, 12 crore households is the target. Earlier, this target was somewhere around 10.74 crore, but this has been now increased to 12 crore households by the government. Now, HWCs and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, HWCs are aimed at improving access to cheap and quality healthcare services at the primary level. JAY will cover the financial protection for availing healthcare services in secondary and tertiary levels. This financial protection is nothing but the insurance which we are talking about. AYUSHMAN Bharat is the largest government funded healthcare program in the world, and with over 50 crore beneficiaries. People, have termed it as Modi Care also, but as aspirants, we should stick to AYUSHMAN Bharat. Two components of AYUSHMAN Bharat, the HWCs, which are for primary healthcare, and JAY, that is Jan Arogya Yojana, for secondary and tertiary. Now, health and wellness centers are being created by converting the existing primary health centers and sub-centers. They provide comprehensive primary health care, CPHC, including a child and maternal health services, non-communicable diseases, and also diagnostic services and free essential drugs. HWCs are important because they offer CPHC that is critical to enhancing health outcomes. It is important, this primary healthcare is important because it is helpful in preventing many, disease conditions. That it is used as a preventive care also. Like for example, you get hurt, you get scratched, and you don't get it treated. It may get converted into a septic, which will be treated in the secondary healthcare centers. But if you get it treated in the primary healthcare centers, it will be tackled then and there only. Okay? It reduces the requirement for secondary and tertiary care. That is why this primary healthcare is important. Jan Arogya Yojana, PMJAY, that is for secondary and tertiary. It is the largest government funded health insurance scheme in the world. 5 lakh per annum per family is the insurance, I would say, amount which is given. It is the insurance cover which we call it. What premium you have to pay? Who are eligible beneficiaries? You have to pay 0 premium. No premium you have to pay. And in return you are getting, if you are eligible, you are getting 5 lakh of, I would say, insurance cover per family, and there is no cap on family size. So if you have a small family, then that is good. If you have a big family, then this is having a big family is a disincentive. This amount is intended to cover all secondary and most tertiary sector expenditures. Cover will include pre and post hospitalization expenses. This is very, very important. It will also cover pre-existing conditions, 3 days of pre-hospitalization and 15 days of post-hospitalization. Means if you have to get a surgery done. Now for that surgery to be done, you need to get hospitalized, let's say 2 days prior. So that will be covered, and post that surgery, that the expense of that surgery will also be covered. The pre-admission will be covered, and post that surgery, whatever admission days you will be there in the hospital, that also will be covered. Okay. Then the beneficiaries will also receive defined transport allowance per hospital. Means to come to the hospital, to go from the hospital, whatever transport is being used like ambulance and all, that will also be covered. The beneficiaries can take cashless treatment from any impaneled hospital. Yes, from any impaneled hospital with the scheme, means including the private hospitals. Now very, I would say, high class private hospitals are also impaneled with the scheme. So the poor people who could not imagine of getting themselves treated in such hospitals can now go and get themselves treated. So this is the Jan Arogya Yojana, and I have a personal experience with respect to this particular scheme. That one day I was here, in Gurgaon, visiting a chai wala, and I frequently used to visit this chai wala. But on that day, a small boy was there serving us tea, and I asked that, "Bhai, where is your dad?" So he said that today is Dadaji's operation, grandfather's operation, so he's over there, open heart surgery. So I asked where, in which hospital. He took the name of a private hospital, a very big hospital chain here in North India. I said, how come? What are the expenses? So he said that there are no expenses, we have AYUSHMAN card. So I got to connect that particular hospital would be impaneled with AYUSHMAN Bharat, and this person has a AYUSHMAN card, so he's getting himself treated or his father treated by using that card in that private hospital. All the government hospitals are automatically by default impaneled, but the private hospitals, they have to be impaneled. Now this is important, who is eligible. We are talking about 12 crore families or 12 crore households who are eligible for this scheme. Okay. But how they are identified? They are identified by the latest SECC, that is socio-economic caste census. First of all, the beneficiaries are different in rural and urban areas. We should understand this also. They are not the same in urban and rural areas. They are different in urban and rural areas. First, we look into the rural area beneficiaries. Basically, any one of these criterias, D1 to D7, whoever is falling within, they are all eligible for this particular scheme. The first is those households who are living only in one room with kacha walls and kacha roof. Second is no adult member is there between ages 16 to 59, means no earning member. Households with no adult male member between 16 to 59, no male member also, then also you are eligible. Disabled member and no able-bodied adult member, then eligible. SC/ST households. Then last is landless households deriving a major part of their income from manual casual labor. And there are some categories which are automatically included, like destitute, living on alms, manual scavenger households, primitive tribal groups, legally released bonded laborers, etc. They are automatically included, but apart from these 6 categories of people are eligible for AYUSHMAN Bharat in rural areas. Now, urban area beneficiaries, there are 11 occupational categories in urban areas, and the members who are part of these 11 occupational categories are eligible for this Ayushman Bharat schemes. First is the rack picker, beggar, domestic worker, street vendor, cobbler, hawker, other service provider working on the streets, home-based workers like our maids and all, artisans, handicraft workers, construction workers, plumbers, masons, labor, painter, welder, security guard, coolie and other head load workers, and sweepers, sanitation workers, mali, etc., etc. The list is not yet over. Transport worker, driver, conductor, helper to drivers, cart pullers, rickshaw pullers, shop workers, assistant, peon in small establishments, helper, delivery assistant, attendant, waiter, electrician, mechanic, assembler, repair worker, and washerman, chowkidar. All these are 11 occupational categories or which are eligible for Ayushman Bharat scheme. So this is important. UPSC out of the blue can ask in prelims, who of the following category of people are eligible for Ayushman Bharat in urban areas. Now, this is role of NHA, that is National Health Authority. This NHA is responsible for implementing the Ayushman Bharat scheme. This national health agencies at the state level have the state health agencies. Since health is a subject on which both can legislate, okay? So there are state health agencies which are at present at the state level, and national health agency is present at the national level. Now, what has NHA been entrusted with? Designing strategy, building technological infrastructure, implementation of National Digital Health Mission to create a national digital health ecosystem. All these are, I would say, the role of NHA. Now, when I talk about the achievements of this scheme, hospital admissions as of 8th of August, this much, 5 crore 47 lakh 23,291. Progress in the last 24 hours, this much. Ayushman cards issued till now are like 24 crore 41 lakh 29,944. 1,21,548 progress in the last 24 hours. So very, I would say, ambitious scheme. If rolled out successfully, we weed out the loopholes. Definitely it is going to give I would say it can be a game changer in the healthcare setup of the country. And we need such kind of game changers in the healthcare setup. Now, the last piece of news, that is the drug menace in Kashmir. Now, when I talk about drug menace in Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir obviously is facing a new challenge. More and more drug addicts are, there. And particularly the youth are being targeted. The average age of the drug addicts is 28. What kind of drug they are consuming the most? They are consuming heroin the most. Is it easily available? Yes, it is easily available. From where it is available, we'll see. Okay. But we see this, the number of patients which have gone up by 75%. There is a 75% jump in the OPD cases coming in Kashmir of drug addicts. Leftly, every day there are 114 cases of drug addicts coming in Kashmir. The hospitals are witnessing an unprecedented surge in the drug addicts coming for the treatment for drug addiction. Now, when I talk about this, a lot of things do come to my mind, which I have already discussed. That is it the new way the militants or the terrorist outfits are trying to attack India or attack Kashmir per se? Is it the new way that they are trying to lure the youth of Kashmir, because now they are not getting lured towards terrorism like the way they used to get lured in the earlier times? So, what is it? Obviously, we know that drug trading, drug trafficking and all are major sources of income of these terrorist organizations. So are they finding a new market in the form of Jammu and Kashmir? Yes, definitely they are finding a new market in the form of Jammu and Kashmir, but since it is Jammu and Kashmir, a sensitive area, there is more than finding a market. It is basically, bringing the youth. If they cannot bring the youth towards terrorism, they divert the youth towards drug addiction, but not let them be part of the development, mainstream. If they let them be part of the development mainstream, it would be called as a victory of Government of India and their failure. So they are trying every luck of theirs to work. But let's see how will it work in their favor. Now we need to discuss the sources of these drugs, particularly heroin, which is the impacting the most. Now there are two drug producing regions. You see a crescent over here. Okay. Now the crescent is called as the golden crescent. Golden crescent comprises of three countries: Afghanistan, Pakistan and Iran. This is golden crescent, one of the world's highest drug producing region. Which drug gets produced here? That is heroin. Now the pink arrow you are seeing is the heroin coming in. Earlier it used to enter Punjab most of the time, but now it is entering Jammu and Kashmir also. The other major drug producing region which I want to talk about is this Golden Triangle. Golden Triangle comprises of per se 3, but at times we consider 4 also. First is Myanmar, second is Thailand, third is Laos, and fourth at times is considered as Vietnam, part of Golden Triangle. This is also a major drug producing region where heroin gets produced. So this pink arrow, heroin gets entered into India. I would say India is located in an unfortunate geographical location, sandwiched between the Golden Crescent on one side and the Golden Triangle on the other side. And these drugs enter into India. From India, they are exported also, like from here. And in the meantime, it gets distributed in India, impacting the youth negatively, helping those people who are growing these drugs financially and who are growing the terrorist outfits, the insurgents. They are into this business. They get funded by selling drugs. They use the money to buy arms, and those arms they use against India. They use that money to train militants or insurgents. Those insurgents or militants disturb India. And that is why, drug trafficking is a big challenge for us. And now drug trafficking has found a new theatre, and that theatre is none other than Jammu and Kashmir. The already fragile Jammu and Kashmir, the already so sensitive Jammu and Kashmir. So this is something which is alarming actually. Consequences of drug addiction: the youth will be diverted away from development. This is one such major consequence. They'll not be able to take part in the development activity. They'll become inefficient. Then terror financing. These terrorist outfits who are quite active in Jammu and Kashmir, they have found a new source of income, a new market. So that is also benefiting them. Then less overall economic activity in that region where drug addiction is quite rampant, because people will be diverted towards this. The state agencies or the authorities will be diverted towards tackling this kind of situation. They will not be focusing on development. So overall economic activity is hampered in that region. And it is also a step to malign the image of Government of India, because Government of India is taking a lot of, I would say, developmental efforts in Jammu and Kashmir. But those developmental efforts of the government of India will not be fruitful if it does not have people participating, particularly the youth participating in those efforts. Youth, the most energetic of them all. And hence, those developmental efforts will not be, fruitful. Hence, Government of India's efforts will definitely be subsided and it will definitely dent Government of India's image. So, these are the consequences of drug addiction. Is this a new strategy of the militants or terrorist outfits? Is Jammu and Kashmir the new Punjab? Now, these questions need to be answered and these questions need to be addressed. We should not let Jammu and Kashmir be the next Punjab. We should curb this, war or, this proliferation of drug addiction right then and there. Now, in today's newspaper, the beginning, it was a front page news, and the beginning was like there was a father who said that I'm thankful that my son is dead because he was suffering a lot and he was spoiling others also from drug addiction. My focus now is on two sons left. One is 27 years old, one is 21 years old, like this. So it is becoming deep rooted in the Kashmiri society. We should be able to stop that. And it is the youth of Kashmir who will be, the primary responsible agents for stopping this. You should not be adopting it. So this is all from my end. I hope you're enjoying these sessions. And if you want, me to take sessions on any topics, you can mention in the comment box. I'll definitely be including them in some way or the other, provided they are relevant from the exam point of view and important from the exam point of view. So this is it from today. Signing off. Bye bye. Jai Hind. We'll be meeting tomorrow with more new topics.